Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware. Welcome to those of you who are joining us in person here in the sanctuary, and to all of those who are streaming our online services. My name is Jacqueline Karras, and I'm grateful to welcome you to our church today as your worship associate. As my first time with this honor, I'll be joined by my friend and longtime worship associate, Jan Shea. Welcome to you all, no matter the hue of your skin or the origin of your ethnicity. Welcome whomever you love and wherever you are on your spiritual journey. You are welcome here. If you are new to First Unitarian, I invite you to check out our website at firstuuwilm.org to learn more about us and to sign up for our email newsletter. For those of us in the building, we are still following some COVID precautions. Thank you for keeping your masks on over your nose and mouth during the entire service. We are singing softly during our hymns again, and after service, we will have a social hour, which is absent food and drink, yet full of fellowship and friendliness. This month, the worship associates are sharing a brief reflection on blessings to go along with the Soul Matters theme. One way that I spend my free time is visiting my dad. He's 90 years old with limited mobility, and he's visually impaired. When I arrive at his home, which is a local healthcare facility, my worries begin to soften and ease with the blessing of human interaction. In the health center family room, I make eye contact with an aide who smiles and nods with warmth and familiarity. Dad and I settle into our routine of listening to big band music and a little conversation. At certain song lyrics, Dad sings out, "New York, New York." Sometimes his hand goes out, searching in the space, and he asks, is someone over there? And I respond, "Dad, I'm here." He says, "Thank you for visiting." And now, let us prepare ourselves for worship.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Larry Pierce, and I want to add my welcome to the warm welcome that you gave us this morning, Jacqueline. You know, we swam to church this morning, we paddled our way to church, but we're here in the warmth of each other's company, if not to dry out, at least to experience the glow of what it means to be together in this sanctuary or joining with us online. And thank you so much, Jacqueline, for that wonderful, poignant story about how a blessing can happen in a human interaction. Really appreciated that. This morning, we will be welcoming new members. We didn't tell them that there was like a ordeal that needed to do before they got here. So let's see how many of them swim to church today. But we'll have some of them here to sign the book and to be acknowledged as new members of this congregation. My opening words are written by the Reverend Scott Taylor. We come today longing and looking for a blessing. In our loneliness, may we find the blessing of connection. In our doubt, may we feel the reassurance of a love that will not let us go. In the dullness of our senses, may the blessings of unexpected gifts be ours. In our fear, may the blessing of courage return.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join me by lighting it now. As Reverend Larry lights our chalice, I give you these words from Andrea Hawkins Camper. Blessed are we, the chalice lighters of resistance. Blessed are we, the transgressors, the trespassers. Blessed are we, the hand extenders, the sign makers, the protesters, the protectors. Blessed are we, for this is our beloved community, and this is who we are.
Here to be recognized as new members, will you come forward and stand right up here next to Cinda? Just find a place, just create kind of a semicircle right up here.
Welcome. You can come on the end. There you go. Ooh, wonderful. Good morning. Come on in the middle. We want to get you and the flowers. All right. Well, good morning. My name is Cinda Crane. Along with Leslie Dickerson, I'm your co-president of the Board of Trustees, and today we welcome 12 people into membership at First Unitarian Church of Wilmington.
So you are probably wondering who those people are. Not all of them were brave enough, persistent enough, resilient enough to show up right here this morning. There's a subset of folks who last year became members but were not able to join in signing the book. So I want to acknowledge them and give them an opportunity to sign the book now, physically sign the book. And then there is another subset of folks, our youth members, who did sign the book recently, so I want to share their names in this group. And then we also have some new members as well, the newest, I should say, members. So last year, George Helton, Linda Helton, and Tina Massington became members but didn't have an opportunity to sign the book. So you may do that now. Let's do that, and I'll continue as you're doing that. Just put the date and sign your names. And I have a stack of those kind of books in the minister's office like this. It's like an archaeological expedition to go through those books. So I'm so glad that you are joining that procession of folks by adding your name to this book today. And then we did have some youth members that signed on our Coming of Age Sunday. They're not here today, but I want to acknowledge them, particularly since because of technical difficulties, some members of our congregation who only attend online weren't able to even see that service, and they signed the book outside in our reception that we had after the service. Those include Campbell Ebling, Matt Merrick, Mason Poust, Colin Shaheen, I think it is. All right, and now, are you poised to receive our newest members? Just say yes. Yes. Okay, those include Mickey Meyer and Kate Donovan, and then Rory Donovan could not be here, but he's joining as well. Liz Wright Lynn, I don't see, and Kim Tull. So, why don't you sign the book? And then your part's coming. Oh, that's right. Oh, yes. Great. We didn't tell you there were some extra exam questions, did we? Just your name and the date is fine. Yeah. Okay, and Kim. Great. So we're going to have you stay here, and we're going to say the covenant together after we do a few other things first. And then Marilyn's going to come up, I think, and give you some flowers at the end of that part. Okay? So do you, the newest members of First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, accept the challenges of membership to be present, to allow yourself to be transformed, to offer your time and talent in service. And this is when you, to be generous stewards, and to love and minister to each other, and if so, please answer, I do. Wonderful. Now, Cinda.
He's a tough act to follow. Okay, to the members of the congregation and the children of the congregation, do you accept these newest members in our beloved community? Do you promise to make them feel welcome? not yet. To share your insights, concerns, your hospitality, your resources, and your needs. Will you warmly welcome their special talents and resources? And, one more and will you allow yourself to be transformed to love and minister to each other? If so, please answer, we do.
We do. So this kind of reminds me of the very first wedding that I did. I had memorized the vows, and I said to the couple, "And do you promise to take X to be your lawfully wedded whatever?" And then I paused for a moment because I wanted to figure out what was next. And they said, "I do." I said, "Wait a minute. To have and to hold, in sickness and in health this day forward." So you got to wait till you get the whole line out. But thank you so much for joining this congregation, and thank all of you for supporting and helping our newest members feel welcome here. So we are going, did you want to say something there?
Normally we would have cake. But due to COVID, we don't have cake. But we have individually wrapped treats. So after service, they all get an individually wrapped treat. And on behalf of the membership team, we have flowers for all of you.
Okay, great. And so now, Jacqueline, let's join together as Jacqueline invites us.
Newest members and longtime members and everyone, let's join our voices in our unison affirmation, which is the mission of this congregation. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
Great, so welcome. See you, Jim. Great, thank you. Let's give them a hand. So let's join now in a time of prayer and meditation. I've drawn these words from those by John O'Donohue. All that is eternal in me welcomes the wonder of this day. The field of brightness it creates, offering time for each thing to rise and illuminate. I place on the altar of dawn the quiet loyalty of breath, the tent of thought where I shelter waves of desire I am sure to, and all the beauty drawn to my eye. May my mind come alive today to the invisible geography that invites me to new frontiers, to break the dead shell of yesterdays, to risk being disturbed and changed. May I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more. That part I would like you to repeat after me. May I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more. So, Spirit of love, come along with all the holy nudges that we need so that we may live in such a way that we celebrate all the blessings that we have been given, so that we may be the blessings needed in this world. Amen. Each Sunday we do bring to mind and to heart in the presence of this community whatever concerns that we hold in our heart for one another, for people that we care about, for what's happening in our world. And we take a time to acknowledge those concerns and to share them as we feel willing to do so, so that we do not have to carry that burden alone. So let's take a time during this shared silence to think about what it is that we're holding on our heart this day, and following the silence, we have an opportunity to name those concerns in this room or to write them on the chat. What names or concerns do you want to voice, articulate, or bring into this room this morning? May all those names that were spoken, all those written in the chat, all those unspoken, find peace and healing this day.
As we deal with the heaviness of Putin's war against Ukraine, the movement to take away women's rights, and the mass shootings in California, Buffalo, and Uvalde, it's good to find ways of holding up the heaviness, ways of seeing blessings. Glenda Dietrich's painting, Holding Up the Heaviness, offers one way. John O'Donoghue's poem, Benach, or Blessing in Gaelic, offers another. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss, gets to you. May a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the currach of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so, may a slow wind of these words of love wind around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life, to bless the space between us.
Any of us who may have spent some time in the South know that phrase, bless your heart. We know that it could be a genuine expression of sympathy and a compliment, or bless your heart could also be a catty expression, which, although it may sound sweet as pie and said affectionately, may actually mean something totally different. So I quote here from an authoritative article entitled Your Southern Decoder. And it states that when a Southerner says, bless your heart, it could actually mean, I quote, you're pitiful and did something you shouldn't have, but you were too dumb to know better. In other words, bless your heart. Since this theme in our small groups, our Soul Matters groups at First Unitarian is celebrating blessings, a number of us have been reflecting upon and discussing various aspects and perspectives on blessings. You know as well as I do that any Unitarian Universalist group will have various opinions on the word, on the concept, and the bottom line effectiveness of blessing. For some of us, it is a welcome and meaningful and edifying concept to feel blessed, to be blessed, and to offer a blessing to someone. For others of us, there may be a skepticism about the concept of blessing and being blessed by anyone or anything. This kind of diversity of perspectives is just how Unitarian Universalists roll. We come to appreciate over time that our reactions, any of our reactions, may depend upon our own past experiences, our own capacity to listen to the underlying intention of someone's words, and our own personal theology. Since as Unitarian Universalists, we've made an intentional commitment to religious pluralism, we often may encounter words that we have discarded, may thought we have discarded, or that we may decide to reconstruct in order to give them new personal meaning. Don't you think that we should give every new Unitarian Universalist, and also those of us who have been around for a while, a cipher or a decoder ring when they join us, so they can kind of make sense of all of these words that we tend to use? After all, we all have different stories and experiences with, for example, blessings, and these, along with our varying theological perspectives, may influence our comfort or our discomfort with any of these words. Do you think a decoder ring would help? Give it a try, says Ed. Now, if you grew up Roman Catholic, as I did, the practice of blessing and being blessed were just woven into every day. Right at the entrance of a church that you entered, there was holy water blessed by the priest in a holy water fountain or font at the entrance that one would use to bless oneself. When passing a church, only Roman Catholic churches, I might add, you would bless yourself with the sign of the cross to acknowledge the presence of Jesus in the remaining communion wafers of bread in the tabernacle in that church. At the beginning of a meal, we often said the blessing over the meal. Priests would occasionally swing a holy water sprinkler or aspergillum to bless those who were present in the sanctuary. You're right. I did have to look up what it was called. And I discovered that you can buy one for $19.99 on Amazon. And yes, for a millisecond, I was tempted to order one, thinking about how much fun it would be to occasionally have that here in the service. Who knows who might need just a little sprinkle of water now and then, just to liven things up. But it was just a passing fancy, and I quickly came to my senses. That same holy water sprinkler was used to bless a coffin in a funeral mass, and occasionally we would take, or to even remind us of our baptismal vows in a service. Occasionally we'd take a religious statue or a rosary to the priest to get blessed. All of this was part of the religious milieu of my childhood, and implicitly I gathered the sense that blessings and blessed things had some power. John O'Donohue explains from the Catholic milieu that he grew up in Ireland that the blessing of objects are seen to take on infusion of sacred power, and long after the occasion of the blessing has passed, the blessed object still retains its protective power. This probably may come from some of the pagan roots of some of those practices incorporated into Catholicism. There is a certain poignancy in this belief that blessing can enter the silence and the privacy of an object, he says, and continue to dwell there. It changes the nature of the object. It is no longer itself. Now, to those of us who were not raised in this milieu, this can all seem like a lot of hocus pocus that we can easily dismiss as foolishness or superstition or as magical thinking. And for any of us who did grow up in this milieu, it can still seem like so much hocus pocus or foolishness or superstition and magical thinking. Yet, it may very well be all of these things for any of us. And yet, the practice of blessing has persisted across religious traditions in ways that tell us that the practices themselves may be less about beliefs and more about the underlying intentions of blessing. I learned from Rabbi Marcia Prager that in Judaism there is a blessing for almost any activity. As a matter of fact, in her book, I think she has like 147 of them, and that's just the starter list. So one could go through the course of a day and do a blessing at the start of any activity. Upon awakening in the morning, of course. For getting out of bed, of course. For getting dressed. For food and for drink, upon hearing good news, when beginning a period of study with others. Prager writes, imagine at every moment that we each embrace the world as a gift that it is. She writes, an apple is a gift. The color pink is a gift. The blue sky is a gift. The scent of a honeysuckle is a gift. Hidden in every experience, she writes, is a gift, inviting us to heart-filled appreciation, to songs of gratitude. Indeed, the more we acknowledge our gratefulness by pausing to bless or to receive the blessing of all that we encounter, the more we temper, she writes, our tendency to be users, despoilers, or an arrogant occupier. So Prager understands that the path of blessing in her tradition can be very similar to a mindfulness practice as a way to awaken us to the potential gift in each moment of experience. In other words, the practice of blessing, of pausing at the beginning of any activity, could awaken us to realize that we need not take anything for granted. The practice of pausing and of blessing can cultivate within us a sense of everyday reverence about life itself. Now, in the introduction to the Unitarian Universalist Soul Matters materials on celebrating blessings, there is this statement, and I'll quote, "You see, unlike some of our sibling religions, we don't say a lot of blessings, but we do point to them. For us, blessings are not so much about giving something to each other as they are about helping each other notice all that has already been given. Pointing to blessings repairs our relationships with life," it says, in allowing us to see it as generous instead of indifferent or threatening. And that's no small thing, because when the world seems stingy with us, we start getting stingy with others. In contrast, those who feel blessed have little trouble passing blessings on. Life spills into us, and we spill into others. When I visited this past week with some of our members at Marist Grove, a continuing care community near us, they shared some of their experiences of reflecting upon the various exercises and questions in the Celebrating Blessings small group materials. And Nancy Pinson has been leading that group for a number of years and is a treasured blessing in that group, I might say. But in particular, some decided to work on the exercise that any of us might try this upcoming week. Pick a blessing or two from your life. Meditate on it. And imagine what your life would be without that blessing in it. Also reflect how other aspects of your life would have played out differently if that blessing would have never occurred. Can you sense how enlightening and inspiring that reflection was in that group, and how it can be for each of us? Indeed, any of us, by realizing what it would be like to not have experienced something that has blessed, enriched, or inspired, or graced our life, may give us a deeper appreciation for what actually has blessed our lives. Last month, at the Poetry for Wellness group, we also focused on one of our sessions on the theme of blessing. In this session, after reading a few of John O'Donohue's poems, I invited the group to think of a time that they had an encounter with someone that felt like a blessing, or to write a poem as a blessing. And in that group, Marion Sargent shared a poem that I'd like for her to share with you now.
So,
Can a blessing or a gift last for many years? So what did the cocky, confident, upperclassman Kimmy see in the shy, a bit awkward freshman home ec major? Was she, in his eyes, kind of cute, curvy, probably able to cook? After all, she was a home ec major. So what drew him to her, push her for a date? So what did he see in her? So what did the shy girl decide it was okay to go out with this Kim E? To go out, excuse me, go out to the library to study. So why did it last? Take the world by the storm, Kimmy, the I'm not so sure home ec major. So why did it last? They found a blessing, a gift, a trust in one another. So who would I have become if my Kim E hadn't claimed me?
Thank you, Marion. John O'Donohue, the Irish poet and writer about Celtic spirituality, took several years to compile his book, Bless the Space Between Us, a book of blessings. We heard Beverly read one of O'Donohue's poems this morning, which includes the Gaelic word for blessing, be not. In this poem, there's a pattern that's similar in each of the blessings included in the book. First, it names an occasion when something is occurring. It's indicated by that word when, as in when you are experiencing whatever it might be. And in this poem, the word when is used to name the occasions that might require or bring forth a blessing. In Celtic spirituality, occasions happen several times a day, numerous times in a lifetime. Whether we are aware of them or not, they are opportunities to become aware and to awaken in the moment. And then at the moment of each occasion, the poem offers an invocation, a blessing, a calling forth of something within you, through you, or another, or within life itself. And in these instances, the word may is used to invoke what you may need in that occasion. O'Donohue acknowledges that the source of that invocation could be God, or something that is within us, or something that is within life that's maybe latent, but that we could consciously call it forth. With that background, let's hear the poem again with this awareness of the structure of a blessing. And as I read this, maybe you can identify with some of the occasions that are named. Maybe you can resonate with some of those occasions even right now or at some point in your own life. When the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. When your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghosts of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken you in a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the currach, which is a large boat used on the west coast of Ireland, When the canvas frays in the currach of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the water a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. And then there's this crescendo of invocations of maize at the end of the poem. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. So I wanted to make explicit that pattern in the poem of the when as the naming of an occasion, and as the may as that what you're invoking. And I want to encourage you to think about that this week and to practice it. This is your assignment, in case you didn't figure that out. So I'd love you to kind of think about what are some of those occasions or moments that you're experiencing now. That would be the when statement. Or that you're anticipating. Or maybe you're holding a particular person or concern in your mind or heart, and you want to name that. So think about those times and become practiced in this form of blessing. Are you willing to try it for a week? So naming the occasion with when I am, or thinking about someone when you are, or thinking about our world when we are, and then think about what it is that you want to invoke in that situation. May this occur. May this be evoked. Willing to try it? I hear some saying, Larry, bless your heart. So I'm really interpreting that as they've already started. Allow yourself to hold the experiences, the occasions that occur to you this week. Times when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're facing a change that you didn't anticipate. Find your own words and then sense what you need most in this situation. What do you want to call forth? What do you want to invoke? Or think about someone that you really care about and name that occasion for them. And then offer your blessing, either quietly or to them directly. Perhaps you can experience this practice of blessing as a way of deep listening to your situation, to your heart's wisdom, or practice listening to another in your deepest aspiration for them. In focusing on blessings, John O'Donohue does not deny, however, the harshness of our world. Instead, he names it directly. Likewise, in composing our blessings, we should not look at the world through rose-colored glasses. We should not imagine that our blessings will make it all disappear or go away. But our blessing is a way to really encounter directly and naming that experience, and then offering from the deepest part of ourselves that which we want to have happen. Sometimes when we look out at the world seems so dark, Donahue writes. War, violence, hunger, and misery seem to abound, don't they? This makes us anxious and helpless, he writes. What can I do in my private corner of life that could have any effect on the march of world events? The usual answer is nothing. We then decide to do what we can for our own and leave the great events to their domain. And thus we opt out, he continues, and we join the largest majority in the world, those who acquiesce. Donahue offers this insight. Believing ourselves to be helpless, we hand over all our power to forces and systems outside of us that then act in our names. They go on to put their beliefs into action, and ironically, these actions are often sinister and destructive. We live in times when the call to full and critical aware citizenship could not be more urgent. Donahue says, real presence is ideal. When we yield to helplessness, we strengthen the hands of those who would destroy. When we choose indifference, we betray our world. Yet the world is not decided by action alone. It's decided more by consciousness and spirit. They are the secret sources of all action and behavior. So when you take back your power and you choose to see the possibilities for healing and transformation, your creativity awakens and flows to become an active force of renewal and encouragement. There's a huge force field, he says, that opens when intention focuses and directs itself towards action. So this is one of my deepest hopes for us as we approach the weeks and the months ahead, that we find ways to articulate what's real, what we're facing, and at the same time articulate with reverence, with resistance, and resilience those blessings, those deeper intentions that can focus us and that can focus our actions. I got a demonstration of a blessing as I decided to treat myself to breakfast this week, and I was writing this sermon. There's a young boy in the restaurant who was adorned with a dark, serious pair of sunglasses and a baseball cap that seemed just a little big for his 5 or 6-year-old head. And he clutched a water bottle in one hand, and then he grabbed his father's hand and pulled his father along. And then the young boy, with his father in tow, declared, "It's not a school day. It's an adventure day." I recognize that boy's words and action immediately were a blessing. By pulling his father along, the young boy put force behind his declaration, behind his blessing. So may we do this as well. Now let's join in singing our hymn, which is 1045 in the teal hymnal or on the screen.
There
Today's stewardship moment is a special collection for NAMI, Delaware. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness. The Delaware chapter of NAMI was founded in 1983 by Simon and Jill Shute, along with a group of families desperate for support for their loved ones. Over the years, the organization has grown to provide a wide range of awareness, advocacy, support, education, and housing programs to support those affected by mental illness in Delaware. In addition to their many signature programs, NAMI Delaware offers an annual education conference and many special events and presentations. They also shape national public policy for people with mental illness and their families, and provide volunteer leaders with the tools, resources, and skills necessary to save mental health in all states. NAMI Delaware also has a toll-free helpline that provides free referral information and support, a much-needed lifeline for many. Public awareness events and activities, including Mental Illness Awareness Week and NAMI Walks, successfully fight stigma and encourage understanding. NAMI Delaware works with the media, educators, healthcare professionals, elected and appointed officials, and many more to raise awareness and shape policy. Your gift to NAMI Delaware helps to ensure that these programs and efforts, so vital to those affected by mental illness, are able to continue. Please give as generously as you can. On a Sunday morning, there are 4 ways to provide an offering to the church. For those attending in person, you can leave your offering in the sanctuary. Other ways to give are shown on your screen. You can mail a check to the church office, donate through our online donation page, or donate via the Vanco mobile faith engagement app on your smartphone. And now please join me in dedicating our offering. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
She makes me lie down in the green meadows, beside the still waters she will lead. She restores my soul, she rights my wrongs. She leads me in the path of good things. She fills my heart with song. Even though I walk through a dark and dreary land, there is nothing that can shake me. She has said she won't forsake me. I'm in her hand. She sets a table before me in the presence of my foes. She anoints my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely, surely goodness and kindness will follow follow me all the days of my life, and I will live in her house forever, forever and ever. Glory be to our mother and daughter, and to the Holy of Holies, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
These closing words are a benediction adapted from Bernadette Miller. May you linger in each moment, receiving with your heart the gift of possibilities that presence can impart. May the prayers that grow within you bloom in many lands, for we are woven of connections, and peace is in our hands.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to extinguish it now. As Reverend Larry extinguishes our chalice, I give you these words from Maggie Lovins. We extinguish this flame, but not its meaning and mission in our hearts. Our time together has come to an end. Go in peace, be of service to one another, and may you move through the world in love for all of your days.